Good evening, at least in my time zone. My name is Alun. I use he, him. And today I am facilitating a session of the Alun Dark. This is my hack of a hack of mine called Cthulhu Dark, which is itself a hack of Cthulhu Dark by Graham Walmsley. I've hacked it for aliens, and I'm scaffolding it with some wonderful stuff in the new Free League book, Alien. This is a very rules light game, and therefore I'm hoping that even where the players haven't played it before, they will roll on very happily. We are expecting a fourth player who's having some technical difficulties, and we'll integrate him into the story when the time comes. So I will refer the players to the Character Keeper, where there is a Cats, Lines and Veils page, which I'll now read to our millions of viewers. It is the year 2179, and this is a game about people colonizing the frontier of human space. Out here, greedy corporations vie for valuable resources. Colonists reach for the stars and gamble with their lives, and each new world is both threat and opportunity. And there are things lurking in the shadows of every asteroid, things strange and different and deadly, things alien. And that alien is, of course, with a capital A, because this is a game that is intended to recreate some of the feeling of the Alien movies and other fiction. In terms of the aim, the characters are going to be members of the Hadley Hope colony on Archeron LV426. Fans of the Alien movies will know exactly where that is. They find their way having to make their way back to the colony after a vehicle malfunction. This session is timed in the interval between the transmission of the colony SOS and then it going dark, and the arrival of the Marines on the USS Sulaco at the start of the second in the movies. The question is, will these characters be able to find a way to survive? The tone, as I say, is intended to recreate the atmosphere of the film Aliens before the Marines arrive. We have everything that the Alien franchise has brought to popular culture, and the game is intended to be rich in tension, darkness, and foreboding. And I have to say, you know, body horror. It may also involve characters making hard decisions about the fate of other characters, because some of the rule tweaks can advantage one character to the disadvantage of another character. Whichever way you look at it, the fate of the characters is bleak, and this is my content warning. This is a game of body horror where people serve as hosts for xenomorphs and are viewed as expendable by the corporations that compete to exploit the frontier. Given the nature of the material, therefore, we'll be careful to use the safety tools espoused by the Gauntlet community. I know all the players have played with me, or either as facilitator or in games with me with other facilitators, so I know they're all familiar with the X card, so I won't labor that. We are working with the Gauntlet inclusivity policy, which is in the process of morphing into a draft code of conduct. And we're playing with the open door. So if something does come up that means one of the players has to leave, you know, we'd love to have them back, but we quite understand life happens. And so if they go away and don't come back, that's fine. You know, this is open door. I'm hoping that doesn't happen to me, but I'm sure one of them will pick up the reins. We're also playing with lines and veils. Lines are things that we simply won't see in the fiction. My starting lines are sexual violence and violence against children. I suppose, given the nature of the setting, we may see the consequences or oblique references to them in the fiction, but I don't expect to see that on screen. And what I'd ask players is if there are any other lines they want to include, bearing in mind my content warning, it will be difficult to line body horror here, I'm afraid, guys. If there are any other lines, simply type them into that cell, you know, anonymously. Veils are things that can happen in the fiction, but we will draw a curtain. We won't have them described in detail on screen. And because, as I always say at this point, I am old and British, sex is my starting point. It may happen, we will not see it described. Again, say to the players, any other veils, please just type them into that cell and I'll look at them. So that's our game. This is a one shot, an experiment with this hack of a hack. And I quite admire the courage of the players for doing it. And I noticed our fourth player has just stepped up. Hi, Puckett. Sorry, I was doing my pre-game spiel and didn't see you had arrived. Welcome. And can you hear us? That does not look good. Let me simply... would someone like to just type into the chat that we seem to not be hearing Puckett, or he's not responding to us? Are you there, Puckett? I feel I'm speaking into the void of the universe.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Thank goodness for that. We can hear you too.
Bear with me. I'm currently doing this on my phone.
Oh, jeez.
So that's how bad things are not starting up here, but I couldn't wait any longer. So I just need to remember that StreamYard is actually loaded into Slack and not Chrome. So that'll be a fun thing to remember. But I am here. I can hear you. Worst comes to worst, I'll just plug the phone in and let it charge while I talk.
Can you see the character keeper?
That's actually what I'm working on doing right now.
Okay.
And it appears that stuff is popping up. Well, Google Drive on phone is not exactly the...
No, I get that. Well, look, we're going to begin. I will integrate you into the story when you're ready to roll, okay? Okay. So can we begin then by introducing the players? Puckett will introduce himself a little while later. Can I go in order of character keeper, please? Start with Eris. Eris, can you say hello and then tell us about Martin Ackleton?
Yes, so yeah, I'm Eris, him, and I will be playing Martin Ackleton, a scientist who basically came to work here in the whole terraforming business. He'd like to see himself as a gardener mostly. He's a short, thin guy. He has these thin glasses on. He always wears a smile. He has a short hair, but he has a patch of green right here. Just, he thought it looks pretty. And he has a really nice space jacket with all sorts of stars and stuff on it. And he's ready and excited.
And so his training is in science, and he's working here as part of the terraforming project. There are undoubtedly some greenhouses near the colony where food is being grown. That's great to start with. Can I move along to Will? Say hello and introduce us to Dennis Carter.
Hi, so Dennis Carter is a company agent for Weyland-Yutani. Once a shining star rising up the corporate ladder, but that star has fallen far, far away from the warm center of the universe, and now he is stuck in a dead end, as he sees it, job as the colony affairs executive, basically doing corporate drudge work. And he still dresses, dress for success. That's what all of his self-help books tell him. And he still keeps that up here. But is anyone even paying attention?
I think that's an interesting question. And finally for now, Ferret, say hello and tell us about Maybelle Oakley-Morris.
Hello, I'm Ferret, also known as Sawyer. I'll answer to either name. And Maybelle earned her name Oakley because she could shoot 10 coins out of the air with a minigun back in the day. And back in the day was a lot better than right now, because back in the day, people listened to her. Back in the day, she had people under her following orders. Now she has to do Pilates classes, fucking Pilates classes on this colony to keep people in shape, because the gravity's a bit different here and we need extra exercise. And maybe another tour wouldn't be that bad.
And I'm sure the Marine Corps would re-enlist Maybelle at the drop of a hat. So those are our three starting characters. A fourth character we hope to integrate as we go. Can I ask some questions? You know one another, and 24 hours ago, you were all sent off to do some routine work out at one of the atmosphere processors. 10 clicks out, the tractor gave up the ghost. But when you radioed back for help, you got some confused messages. And this you are connecting to events that happened a couple of days ago. 4 days ago, in fact, a wildcatter named Russ Jordan was brought back to the colony, to Hadley's Hope, infected with something. He died. Nobody knows the details, but people are saying that some snake-like parasite disappeared into the guts of the colony. Security has had no luck catching the thing, and somehow more people got infected. Rumor has it that some of them have died too, at least at the point where you left. And that there may be more of these snake-like things than Supervisor Simpson, who's the chief administrator for the colony, is admitting. All he's done is speak over the intercom saying there's nothing to worry about, and, you know, people mustn't believe all these rumors. Crisis or not, you still have jobs to do. So 24 hours ago, you headed out on a routine maintenance run to Processor 9, frankly happy to let the crisis blow up over back at the base, back at Hadley's Hope. As I say, the tractor gave up the ghost. The mechanical crunch told you that it wasn't going anywhere, and nothing you were able to do out there got it going again. Calls back to base to say, got a cursory kind of wait, we'll get you when we can. While you waited, you got to talking about the crisis and the Weyland-Yutani corporate shuttle that arrived just before you left. Apparently, the shuttle carried an inspection team led by company agent Miranda Reynolds and her chief scientist, Dr. Theodora Comiskey. Just before you left, there was a rumor that their shuttle was quickly and quietly ready for departure. Reynolds and Comiskey are probably the only two with the access keycards needed to use the shuttle. For all you know, it was Reynolds who ordered Jordan out there in the first place. But it's typical of Weyland-Yutani reps just skipping out and leaving you, the workers, to clean up their mess. A day has passed and you've still heard nothing. The only comms you've picked up are garbled, even frankly panicked. And it becomes clear that no one is coming to help and your power and oxygen is not unlimited. There is no option but to walk back and see what the hell is going on. Can I ask then, Martin, you've spent a bit of time with these guys now. Sorry. Martin, you spent some time with these guys now. Which of them do you like most? Doesn't have to be a lot, but which one do you like most? Is it Dennis or Maybell?
They're both a little down and kind of pessimistic, it feels. But I think Dennis could grow to be happier. Like he could do better. I think I like talking to him.
So you'll see which member of the team do you care most about, and then ask them why. So it's Dennis. Dennis, why do you think Martin likes you?
Because I keep giving him all of the resources that he asks for in the hope that he'll eventually boost those numbers just high enough that I can take the credit for it back home. So I think that Dennis's sort of bleak outlook is something that he mostly keeps to himself. To everybody else, it's that sort of desperate smarminess that you see among like used car salesmen.
Okay. And moving along then to Dennis, which of these two that you spent some time with do you like best or care about best most?
It's got to be Martin for the exact same reason, you know, like maybe if we were
You say Martin. Martin, why do you think Dennis likes you?
I think he likes my positive attitude. He likes that I'm always coming to work with a smile, and that like when he's around me, it's hard for him to be unhappy because I just glow with all this cheerfulness in the middle of this dark place.
Maybell, which of these two do you like or care about most?
Me. It'll probably be Dennis. The scientist is too cheerful.
Okay, Dennis, why do you think Maybell likes you or cares for you most? Dennis, are you thinking?
I'm sorry.
Why do you think Maybell likes
I thought you
you?
said Martin. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that entirely. Why does she like me the most?
I got that wrong. Maybell, just say again. Who do you care about most?
You did say Dennis. I'm sorry. I heard you say that because the scientist was so cheerful. Sorry. I think that Maybell likes Dennis because he's a realist. You know, he's pragmatic. He's crunching the numbers. He's doing those things. He's he's focused on just getting this work done.
Okay. I'll go round again and ask Martin, which member of the team do you care least about? And then we'll ask them why.
I don't have much of a choice.
I know.
I think I like Oakley a little bit less, but I wonder why.
Why is that, Maybell?
Because I've never talked nicely to him after our one-night stand.
So if Martin can fill that in, and I guess the simple question to Dennis is, we know you don't like Maybell as much as you like Martin, but Maybell, why does Dennis not like you?
I don't take his orders.
Though technically, as a member of security, you are subservient to the admin arrangements of the colony. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do the minimum, but I don't go above and beyond. I'll do I'm used to leading, and I think it shows.
Okay, I like that. Can I now ask you if Maybell, who do you like least?
It's got to be Martin.
Martin, why does Maybell like you least?
Can I say anything?
Oh, please, make this as juicy as you can.
Okay, she's totally in love with me and she has no control over her feelings, but she hates that. She hates that.
So all that unpleasantness that keeps coming back to you is actually code for Martin, I love you.
Yeah, she keeps pulling my hairs.
Yeah, this is so primary school. I'm with you on that one. Yeah, okay. Thank you for that. If I can go the other way now and start with Maybell, why did you come out here to the frontier, Maybell?
It was blackmail. I have siblings, but when I was on my tour, I got pretty heavily wounded, and I gambled with their trust funds. So I got given the choice of to turn down a promotion for a payout, which would cover the trust funds, if I would quit and come out here and take the job of someone's child.
My goodness me. What a sad, sad circumstance, Maybell. No wonder she's slightly bitter. So if you fill that in, I'll move along and ask Dennis. why did you come out to the frontier?
It was supposed to be the corporate fast track, you know, get out here on the frontier where all the big things are happening, changing a whole world. You know, how could that not improve your career? But you know, I think the person who told me all of these and sold me on the program, I'm still pulling that dagger out of my back. You know, they've shuffled me off the corporate ladder, and now it's up to me to get my way back up.
So it was greed that got you here.
Yes.
And the thing, therefore, that you value more than anything or anyone?
My career.
So you do anything to get back on that corporate ladder then?
Hey, it's the only thing that matters.
Okay, go with that. Moving along, Martin, why did you come out here to the frontier?
So I heard they're building a new colony, and making a new colony for humans sounds amazing. Like a new place for humans to live in, and in 20 years, we'll make it 20 years. This place will be green and lush. That's like a dream come true. So for the humanity.
Now, because when I wrote this, I was thinking everyone would play a cynical person. The specific question for Martin would have been, what would you do to stop them? Because the assumption is that they're doing something terrible out here. But you have a very sunny view. So what would you do to help them?
Well, first thing first, it's my job. Like, I would grow these plants. I would work 24 hours a day if I have to.
You just told me this is beyond just a job.
Yeah, I would work my ass out. Like, this place is gonna be green in like as soon as possible.
Okay, so work your
No
ass
sleep.
off. Okay,
Oh,
I
yeah.
get that. I'm just going to check in with Puckett. Puckett, how's it going?
I am here. I can hear you. The computer is sort of booting. There's a bunch of cache issues that are coming up. Okay, I just got Slack up, so I should be able to be in on my system inside about 30 seconds, but I'll still need time to set up a character.
Well, fine. What we'll do is I'm going to play with the kind of original setup that these three are returning to the colony. What I'll do is when you're ready to roll, then I'll introduce you as somebody inside the colony. Okay?
That's what I was thinking, like somebody in the control room or somebody who just got there. So
fingers
give me
crossed.
5 seconds. I'll send a message in chat.
Okay. Right, folks, the final thing I want to touch before we get into the action, so to speak, is if you go to the tab marked love letter, you will find a love letter to each of you. So what I want to do, let me think. I'll start with Maybell this time. Maybell, this is not the first time you've come to face with the darkness of the frontier. And I think from your story, we know this is true. Your life before now seems an oasis of relative calm and a distant memory. Say what you witness. What's the most stressful, unpleasant, difficult thing that Maybell has had to face?
I'm not an expert on aliens. I've seen a few movies. I think that one of her squads came into contact with a Yajuta or a Yajuta, the predator race.
I love how you're not familiar with it, and yet you called it the Yajuta. Like,
I was like, I'm not like familiar with the lore, but I've seen enough movies and that kind of stuff. But and the predators are cool. But I think that she survived, and again, it was just her skills with weapons that impressed it. She did not survive because she could beat it, but because she was like, it was like, it's a very bad memory of, everyone else died. I lived because I could kill better than they could. What does that say about me? And what does it say about what's out there that's what they impress upon them?
Great. And how did you try to forget about it afterwards? How do you try to process it? Did you verbally? Oh, hang on. I think Puckett is back. Let's try this. Puckett, are you out there and receiving?
I am on the laptop now. Now I'm just trying to get the character keeper open.
Fine. Just tip us the wink when you're ready, and we'll come back to you for character. To manage stress, does Maybell verbally abuse, bully, or shame someone? Does she tend to beat somebody up?
I went for honest human contact,
Aha.
and that's when I got turned down. I got offered the promotion, and I had to turn it down after the person who was blackmailing me found out about my gambling after that.
Brilliant. Integrated character. So if you go to Seek Relief from the Horror, which is on the Other Rules tab, normally in Seeking Relief from the Horror, stress will go down. In this case, stress will go up. But we may also have a complication. So if you say honest human contact, roll a single d6. So that's the white 6 in the center of the dice room array.
Okay, let me re-roll that. I got a 2. Yay!
So they see your hollow camaraderie for what it is, a self-serving pretense, and you are ashamed. You cannot use your expertise until stress goes up again. So put 1 on your stress count, and you'll find there's a drop down next to expertise that says available or not. So currently, your expertise is not available to you. Okay.
Gotcha.
Moving along to Dennis. What's the worst thing that's happened to you?
I didn't get my bonus. Yeah, I think that on the way here, Dennis stopped over at one of the stations, the deep space stations, and had to act as Weyland-Yutani's rep for closing an account, which effectively left repossessing a ship that was out there and effectively leaving people, working people out there just stuck on the colony, on the space station with no money to leave and no way of booking passage home. So he was the razor, he was the blade of the corporate cutting engine, effectively.
The bleeding edge of Weyland-Yutani. Okay, yeah. And how did you try to forget? How did you try to put that behind you?
I think in true 80s corporate fashion, he tried to numb the pain with drugs.
Okay, so if you go to that page of the character keeper, try to numb your pain with drugs, roll a single d6, please. A whole 1. You're distracted by your need, because what I'd like to suggest to you is that this developed into something of a habit. And you've been away from the colony now for 24 hours without access to the drug of choice, which is, I think, probably a slightly kind of stress reliever kind of drug. You need just 1 more shot, really just 1 more. You cannot use your expertise until stress goes up again. So mark stress and unmark expertise. Last but not least, let's come to Martin. Martin, what's the worst, most stressful, most disturbing thing that you've experienced out here on the frontier?
So I used to work in another colony. And I had a greenhouse there, just like here. And there was chaos. There was uprising, and they burned the entire greenhouse down. The entire thing, all the trees, all the vegetation. That colony basically, I think, collapsed since. It was terrifying to see humans act like that. You're muted.
So it's the inhumanity of man to man, people to people. Mm-hmm. The thin veneer of civilization beneath which seethes an animalistic heart. What's your routine way of handling stress? Which of those moves on Seek Relief from the Horror?
I mean, I don't know about routine way. At least I hope it won't become the routine way. But I got in my hands one of the people who started the fire, and I broke his arms.
Oh, right. So you beat someone up. So roll the white dice in the center of the array, re-roll, and let's see what happens with that, because dice roll are going so well at the moment.
Yes, they are.
Right, on 4+, and they are an NPC. Agree with the GM whether you run off to be on your own for a while, do something that puts the team at risk. I'm going to say you did something that then puts the team at risk. And what I'm going to do, I tell you what, no, I'm going to keep that on the shelf for later. So Martin is going to cause a risk, or that process, because I think what I'm going to say is that that person was recently reassigned to this colony. Yeah. And I think that something is going to happen involving them, which will put the team at risk. So I'm going to mark the risk clock to 1. And that's all that happens. So your expertise is still available, Martin. Good for you. Now, I think we're ready to be introduced to our 4th character. Puckett, do you want to say hello and tell us about Carrie Martin?
Hi there, I'm Puckett, he, him pronouns. I am playing Carrie Martin, who is a somewhat traumatized medic. I'm not sure what circumstances she was a medic under. It could have been for the Colonial Marines. It could have been for the company. But things didn't exactly go well the last time that she was out, and she kind of mentally checked out for a little bit. And now she's partway back and just trying to keep food in her stomach while she waits for the screams to stop.
And currently, I know that she does the late shift in ops. So is that general technical support, or is that the on-call medic?
Basically, she's just punching the clock. She's just watching the machines to make sure nothing goes wrong while everybody else sleeps. As far as being a medic goes, if it's bad enough, she'll patch somebody up, but otherwise she tries to stay completely away from all of that at this point.
So can we assume then that people don't know that she has medical expertise?
It is not something that she willingly discusses, but that's not unusual because she doesn't discuss much with anyone. She's quiet. She keeps to herself. Like I said, if you look at her, you see somebody who looks like they're trying really hard to just look as average as possible and be as unremarkable as possible. So trying to blend in almost like gray paint on the wall. Okay. And I notice that in answer to the question, why did you come out here to the frontier? You said life is meaningless, so why not? It might at least be interesting. And the question I ask you then is, what are you looking for as an escape from such ennui? And I think what you've just told me is... I don't think there is an escape. No. Okay. I mean, the wisdom of no escape, as Pema Chodron once wrote. But, it's pretty bleak. I mean, this is less Buddhist and more nihilist existentialist. Well, I think I was going to introduce you once they got into the building. Totally. But I think actually we'll deal with all of the prep now and treat you as a team from the start. Okay. So, Carrie, which member of the team do you like or care about most? And then we'll ask them what you see in them. I'm not sure that I necessarily like any of them, but if I may, I'd like to reframe it as respect. And I think I respect Dennis because at least he has a motivation. I may not like his motivation. I may think it's ridiculous. I may think he's foolish for doing it, but there's a motivation there. He's doing something for a reason and he knows what and why.
So Dennis, popular Dennis. Dennis, why do you think Carrie likes you, or cares or respects you most of these four?
Because she recognizes class, like I'm a natural leader. I'm rising to the top. I've got a bright future ahead of me, and this place isn't going to snuff it out like it has her.
Can you work with that, Carrie?
Yep.
And then the question then becomes, well, which member of the team do you respect, care, like least?
I think under the circumstances, it's got to be Martin. And I think it's because Martin it's like Martin hasn't seen the real world. It's like Martin doesn't know what's out there and what happens.
Okay, Martin, why do you think Carrie doesn't show much interest, respect, or concern for you?
I think she sees me gleefully going to work every morning as she goes back to bed because she works the night shift, and she's jealous. She's completely and utterly jealous at someone who's actually happy with his life. There you go.
That's actually really good.
Yeah, I think that's a very good reason to really be pissed off by Martin. What I'm going to suggest is that we take a 5-minute break shortly, but I just want to point you at one other thing at the bottom half of the character keeper, is your mobility and equipment. Mobility is linked to equipment. The more you carry, the less mobile you are. Mm-hmm. You recognize some of this as a little bit from Blades in the Dark, but the difference here is that you will only have equipment when you find it. And you start play with colony coveralls, a rebreather mask because while the air out there is technically breathable, for reasons of health, you use rebreathers if you're out there for a long time. A utility knife or utility tool, perhaps. A colony ID tag, and a bag and knapsack. Okay. In your locker, each of you will notice, has a particular item that might be of use. Your locker is in the sub-level near the showers in the mass housing block that's buried underneath Block A. It was the first bit of the colony built. And each of you also has a power pack with a certain amount of charge in it. I'm going to ask each of you in turn to roll the white dice, and that will tell us how much power there is. Yeah? So let's start with Carrie. Oh, let me just make sure. Let me start the other end of the character keeper and make sure that I've given Puckett the link to the dice room.
Yeah.
We'll come back to you. So let's start with Martin. Martin, roll a single d6. Has that come up 5? Have you re-rolled, Martin? Erez, you? Have you re-rolled that? Because it stayed 5 in my screen.
I didn't re-roll anything.
Okay, so roll the white dice. So highlight the white dice and then click re-roll selected.
Right. 1 moment. Click it. 3.
Okay, so I'll mark up 3 charges on your power pack. Moving along, Dennis, likewise. The only man with the full power pack. That must be because you swapped the one that had emptied for somebody else's full one.
Of course.
Maybell.
Got a 4.
Then I'll mark up you with 4 charges. And finally, Carrie. Oh,
nice. It must be because I've just been sitting because I've been in operations and it was just charging.
Fine. So it is just about exactly on the hour. I'm going to suggest that we break for 10 so we can get a hot drink, stretch our legs, go to the loo, and then we'll roll straight in, okay? And play intensely for the next 2
Really
hours.
quick, Alan, is there anything else that I need to do with the character sheet while we're on break to get up to speed?
No, you are there. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not going to. I'm going to inflict one stress on you, but I'm not going to force you to roll the love letter because I think the time has come to just roll on. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Fine. See you in 10 minutes past the hour, guys. Oh, you look much sharper now, Erez.
Yeah, it's because I'm an actual computer now, not just a stupid little laptop. Can I have the links again to the character sheet?
Sorry, say that again.
The link to the character sheet again.
Of course you can. Try that.
Thank you.
Oh, so I'm looking forward to Red Markets on Monday. Well,
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting experience. I'd forgotten how much I just internalized all of the rules and how hard it's going to be to actually like. It's a bit more than this. To clarify, Alan, this is different from Accident Cthulhu in that we pick up items, right, rather than just flashback them into existence. Cool.
You start with what you stand up in, pretty much.
Yeah. Errors, if you're trying to put in a picture, you're probably better off doing insert into cell rather than dragging it into there.
Say again?
Is that you or Puckett who's dragging the big?
That was me.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So thanks for the tip. You said insert into cell, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Insert image in cell. It says.
And then the cool Asian girl will be to the right scale.
Yes.
So we begin then. You've trekked back the 10 kilometers. Some of you having been rather more careful about maintaining your power supplies. Those power supplies are useful because some of the things you could find are powered, and each use of them will use up one of those little markers. The dial will slowly slip down. So you were outside the West Lock. The rain is sleeting through. The wind is high. You can barely hear one another. You all have colony keycards, so the airlock should work for you. Who's going to use their keycard to get inside?
I think Dennis strides over and unlocks it because having this keyed against his name will mean that he can definitely claim those hours spent outside back on his hazard pay sheet.
Okay. And all of you go in unless I hear something different. And the lock cycles to clean the air. As I say, it's breathable out there, but not pleasant. And like a lot of the colony buildings, they're not actually that thick, the walls. And so you can hear the wind vibrating the ready room when you step out into it. The ready room is lined with lockers and benches. What do you do?
Dennis strides over to one of the internal intercoms. on the station, and presses it and goes, "Is anyone out there? This is corporate colony affairs executive Carter. What's happened to the comms, everyone?"
And there's and then, as though triggered by your activation of the intercom, a recorded message which says, all colonists, in that calm way that they do, this is an emergency message. All colonists must immediately assemble in mass housing for safety. This is an emergency message. All colonists must immediately assemble in mass housing for safety. This is an emergency message. All colonists must...
Jeez. Well, let's get these things off, and yeah. I got a mass housing. Mass housing is where our lockers are, correct?
It is.
Yeah. That is where Dennis wants to go, in particular.
I think Maybell has been stripping down from these outfits, and while waiting for Dennis to do the intercom thing, she's just doing stretches, like she might have to be running or doing any kind of athletic activity, because mainly just to get the lactic acid from this long walk, like, out of her muscles as fast as possible.
Mechanically, in each area of the colony, you can either move through it swiftly, or you can search it. Just, so you know that you have some options. So there is only one place to go from the West Lock, apart from back outside, is down the corridor towards Block C1. Commercial offices, blah, blah, blah. You know this colony like the back of your hands, folks, so you have access to that map as much as I do.
I would like to check the lockers in this room to see if there is anything useful for me.
Okay.
Or others.
Okay. Then Maybell, would you roll 2d6, the white dice and the orange expertise dice, to investigate something?
I can't. My expertise is not working right now.
Oh, so it isn't. Thank you for reminding me. I will forget.
I will roll the stress,
dice.
though, because the emergency is putting me on edge. If that's okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good, but I get stressed.
On a 5, 4 or 5, you get... Oh, you rolled your stress die. I beg your pardon. Yes.
Yeah.
So you get the bare minimum, and you can ask me 2 questions. But yes, you included your stress dice. It was equal to or greater, so your stress goes up by 1. You can ask me 2 questions about the circumstances, and then I'll let you roll to see what you find.
Okay. Does it look like people had time to hear this message? Like, did it seem like people followed this orderly or scrambled for?
I think that's difficult to answer here because you're in the ready room outside the lock.
Did people? It looked like people just like dropped things that were working here.
Yes, I think that people evacuated quickly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And do I know if? No, I'm not very friendly, so I probably couldn't. What here looks like it would be the most useful for any of us, like with our expertises?
Okay. Roll 2d6, any 2d6 you like, but the white one and the orange one, because this isn't to do with expertise. This is just a random.
Okay. There's both 2s.
4. The only thing here that isn't already stuff like what you have is a fire extinguisher.
Well, I think I'll look at that and sort of like jokingly hand it to Martin. This could save your plans.
Low blow.
Is there anything that I can see that might be of use if we need to get patched up? Because we knew that there was some kind of crisis going on. We've got stuck out there. I mean, if we're hearing something about converge here for safety, there might be injuries. And although I don't want to go back to that, I don't know that I can actually turn away from slapping a tourniquet or something on someone.
Literally, all that's in here are a number of overalls, rebreathers like the ones that you've been wearing already. So there's nothing here there's nothing new here that you don't already possess. I guess you could stuff an extra set of coveralls into a bag, into your knapsack or whatever, and that would provide you literally with some crude tourniquets and bandages.
Yep, I'd like to do that.
Okay. I won't charge you weight for that. I think it's relatively trivial. And then are you moving? Oh,
I'll take
Martin,
the fire
you can say
extinguisher. I'll take the fire extinguisher and be like, "Oh my goodness, yeah, it could come to very good use," and I take it.
Muted.
Yeah. There are a couple of boxes at the bottom of the equipment on the character sheet that are empty. So if you would simply add fire extinguisher, and then mark 2 to your load, because it's quite clumsy as much as heavy. Okay. And then there is that kind of key swipe doors to the corridor to the commercial office block.
Yeah, Dennis walks into the commercial office block. He is, in fact, going to go over to his desk before he goes anywhere and see if he can boot up the computer to log this latest thing off, because it might be an emergency, but it'll be a real emergency if these hours don't get logged and the corporate doesn't get its numbers.
Your office, Dennis, is actually upstairs. These are commercial offices rented by Weyland-Yutani to other corps or freelancers. So the admin and corp offices are upstairs on the second floor, on the upper floor of C block. Anybody want to do anything else here, or are we simply moving from C1? Because the only place to go from C1 is upstairs.
I'd kind of like to poke around because I've never really been in this part of the colony. This is new to me.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe there's something useful here.
Fine. So I think, because you haven't been here before, this isn't a bit of the colony that your kind of technical crew would get to often. So I think this is without expertise. So just roll the white dice, please.
Okay. That's a 1.
So Carrie is kind of opening cupboards and slamming them and drawing out drawers and looking around for stuff. You still get to roll the 2 dice to see if there is anything here.
Any 2, correct?
As long as you tell me which ones to look at, yeah.
All right. I'll just roll the orange and the white.
Fine.
2 and 2.
Against the wall, or in a kind of sealed glass fronted cabinet, is a fire axe.
That could be useful. Is there anything... Martin, can I borrow your fire extinguisher for a second?
Sure. I guess we're preparing for a fire. What is the emergency?
I don't know, but I'd rather have something to... We need to pry doors open with
Listen, that's company property, and if you damage any of these doors, there is going to be a substantial dollar amount attached to any repairs. Let's not go off half-cocked here.
We got stuck out there for a day. We're getting automated messages, and we've been told to assemble for safety.
Listen, I'm sure everything is fine. We just need to make our way down to the sub-level tunnels, and then we can make our way through to mass housing, and we can see what's going on. Let's not start breaking things.
Martin, your fire extinguisher, please.
Dennis, you're just angry because if this is going to be costing us, it's going to be coming out of your paycheck.
I think you'll find if you look in your contracts, it'll be coming out of all of our paychecks. So I hope that's enough of an incentive for you all to come down. Listen, I'm just speaking on behalf of the company.
You can speak on behalf of my ass. Martin, may I please borrow your fire extinguisher?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. And I break the glass to get the fire axe out and hand Martin the fire extinguisher back.
Fine, thank you.
That down.
I'm
making a note of that.
Of course you are.
So, Carrie, if you just note fire axe and mark, I think, one unit of load for a fire axe. I don't think I put fire axe in the list, but, we'll manage.
Let's see, I don't see fire axe in the list, so fire axe.
But because you made such a lot of noise doing that, Carrie, rolling 1 to 3, I'm going to mark the risk clock. And as that goes up, the activity of the hive that, of course, our audience fears is there will increase. So you've been through these little kind of cubicle offices. There is a staircase going up. One of those metal frame staircases makes a lot of noise when you walk up it. Anybody want to go upstairs?
So the stairway down to the sub-level corridors, isn't there? And the sub-level corridor network would take us to mass housing. If I'm reading this correctly.
Dennis, you need to log your hours, Dennis.
Okay. Yeah, stairwell down to sub-level corridors. Yes, you're quite right. So down.
Yeah, so not to commandeer us, but I feel like Dennis is going to go straight for the mass housing.
You're not going to log your hours?
These terminals don't hook up to the main network. I'm going to have to go up to the executive lounge to do these things. So, okay, first things first. Let's go down there. Try not to break anything more, okay?
I'm surprised they still let you have access to the executive areas.
I'd love to do this in non-traditional games, but I do want to know which order you're in.
Officer Morris, do you want to, how do they say, take point?
I'm not a vanguard. She has the axe. She can go first.
I'm not.
And Dennis, we all know that you're the leader here. Real leaders lead from the front.
Well, fine.
It's quite okay. I can be first if you guys.
No, Martin. No.
Prefer it.
Let me. God forbid, Miss Morris actually does her job in any way.
Hey, I got to your ass.
Yeah. Okay. So Dennis will lead the way.
Was that an effort to trigger verbally abuse, bully, or shame someone?
Depending on either of us.
I don't think that Dennis was trying to do that, but if Miss Morris wanted to be doing that in return,
Maybell?
Yes, I want to verbally slam him with.
So what do we hear you saying in response to that kind of slightly underhand jibe?
And I think she turns to Carrie as like Dennis is walking forward. It's like, you should have seen him before Pilates. He was like a stick figure that was he's like a coat rack and a stick bug had a child.
Reduce stress by 1, Maybell, and roll 1 dice on the verbally abused table. So on 4+, and they are a PC, your words hit them really hard. They roll for stress. Would you roll for stress, please, Dennis?
And those words have hit hard, and Dennis's stress raises. But am I right in thinking that means that I can now use my expertise again because my stress?
Indeed, your expertise kicks back in.
Yes.
Dennis.
So I think that sharpens his. Yeah.
How does that? Go on.
She says it. It reminds me of the sort of effete paper pusher that I was before I arrived here in Hadley's Hope and had to do all the physical exercises and stuff. It sharpens me up again. I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm going to show these blue collar slobs exactly what it takes to survive out here. What it takes to win. And I stride confidently down the.
So, do you want to tell us how that? So that's what's sparked you up. How does this stress increase manifest in Dennis? Because that sounds like manifest like making him more up.
Oh, but more like in a toxic way, like kind of like anger fuel, basically. Like it's sharpened him and it's focused him, and his arrogance has come to the fore in a slightly pissed off way.
Right. Well, I think manifest as arrogance then would go in the character keeper, and off goes Dennis. Shoulders back. Briskly clanking down the steps to the basement level. The basement, the sub-level corridors are they're broadly a square linked by cross corridors. Off to the north, as you look at your map, is mass housing, and then other bits of maintenance and vehicle bays are in other directions. So Dennis, you're striding down. I'm going to assume the others follow you.
Mm-hmm. I'm second.
Oh, right. Martin and the fire extinguisher second. Who's bringing up the rear?
I am. I'm not following behind Martin.
Okay. And down you go to the basement level, to the corridor section. There are a number of, if you go to different parts of these corridors, you can come up in different bits of the colony, as you will see, I think. But what's the plan, Dennis?
If I don't see anything, I'm going to lead the way straight across to mass housing, where we're supposed to be going.
Okay.
Company regs insist that you follow all emergency orders to the letter now. I'll be putting these in your records. You're muted, Alan.
So, mass housing. So you keycard, door opens. But Dennis, would you roll for stress, please? Because there is blood pooled on the other side of the door, and it just slushes out slightly because the floor isn't level over your best executive shoes.
Well, that goes up again.
My goodness me. Is it still manifesting as arrogance or what?
I think that now what it's manifesting as is the other side of the corporate, I can't think of a non-swear word of describing it way, but now it is completely in cowardice. It's a very
what do you
line.
do when you keycard this and you open it and a puddle of blood just forms around you?
I think he goes, holy, and then just like jumps, like leaps backwards, basically.
I'll hold him.
Yeah.
So Martin supports Dennis. Carrie, you're next, I think, in line. What do you do when you see this blood?
I recoil because this is triggering. And I mean that in a PTSD sense. I mean, this is a lot of blood. This is, I'm assuming we're looking at least, if all this blood came from one person, they're dead.
Yeah. And as you look around you, Carrie, the lighting's on dim. and it's slightly red tinged, the emergency lighting. But as you now look around you, you can see that it's not just pooled blood, but there are smears of blood where bodies appear to have been dragged or crawled away from mass housing.
Is there blood spatter on the ceiling? And I mean, is it clear that something like really horrifically violent happened here, and it's not just blood, like dragged blood?
Indeed, there is. So I want you to roll for stress, please. So roll the green dice, and if it exceeds your current stress, stress will go up by 1.
That is 2, and I don't think I had any stress.
Sorry, I gave you 1 for just life being complicated on the. Everyone starts on 2.
Okay.
But it doesn't exceed it, so it doesn't go up.
Okay.
So though it's triggering, this is nothing so far that Carrie has not seen before. Maybell, you're looking around, you're seeing the blood smears. Yes, there is blood spattered up the walls. And now you come to look at some of the light fittings. The reasons that they are tinged red is that they are spattered with blood.
And I think just like with Carrie, like there's this, the camera zooms into Maybell's eyes, and suddenly she's on the ground on this other alien planet, holding her side with blood just welling under her hand, and the predator mask comes into her eye reflection before the camera comes right back in.
Gorgeous. Would you roll for stress, please?
Yes, I will. It goes up.
How does that manifest for Maybell?
I think she's actually starting to she's getting back into that mindset. And she steps forward, looks at Dennis, who's hopped back. It's like, okay, we're looking at least, we're looking at several casualties. We're not looking for many survivors. If they're not going to be contacting us, or if they got a mass exodus here, it looks like they may have been corralled in here. I don't know how many people survived. I hope you didn't have many friends on here.
You mean it's blood?
It's
Have
not
you never seen
chlorophyll.
blood?
Martin, would you roll for stress, please?
Yes, I will. That's the roll for the punch. Just the stress dice, right?
Just the stress dice.
That's not good. A 4, so I assume it goes up.
How does that manifest for Martin?
He's like, as actual stress is like, oh my god, I'm surrounded by a bunch of blood for the first time in my life. Like, what the hell's going on?
So would you say that he's distracted?
Yeah.
Okay. And that was just opening the door. Does anyone cross the threshold? Because the lights, there are a couple of neons hanging loose, swinging back and forth. It is clear that there is a lot of unpleasantness across that threshold. Does anyone want to cross it?
Dennis, lead on.
No, Dennis, stay back. And I think Maybell pulls out her knife and gets in that combat pose and heads in first.
There might be survivors.
Does anyone go with her?
I think Dennis is seeing his last chance to get hold of what's in his locker. So he's cautiously following.
I sigh and fall in behind.
Leaving Martin to bring up the rear by the sound of it. Or
Yeah, apparently.
Martin?
But I do walk with them. Like, I continue. I'm like, there might be survivors. We have to find if anyone else is here.
Martin, this is too much blood for survivors.
There, beside the door when you cross the threshold, you will see the mutilated remains of Supervisor Simpson, the colony lead. Only from the torso up, though. The lower half of his body is further down the corridor.
Oh my goodness. He was so nice.
I want to take.
Where do you lead them, Maybell?
I am leading them to the lockers because I have a weapon there, and it's better to be armed in this situation, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, you. There are signs here of I think Maybell would recognize it as a last stand. That there are mutilated bodies. That some have been dragged out of the room. You think out of the block. There are some blood smears running up the walls to ventilation panels that have been torn away. But you will get the lockers in the shower rooms, and there you will find more carnage.
Can we search any of the bodies on the way? Like, it was the last stand, right?
You can certainly investigate here, Dennis, if you think you're up to it.
Yeah, I think if there's a poke, if anyone was holding like a gun or something, you'd definitely be looking for that kind of thing.
Okay.
So would I roll
investigate?
Investigate, which I don't think I have expert now, unless personal safety would come into it.
I think personal safety would suggest that you shouldn't go near those bodies.
Yeah, well then I'm just going to roll. Oh, I got a 4, sorry.
Wow, who knew? Hard ass. So on a 4, you get the bare minimum, and you can ask the GM one question. I've given you the bare minimum in the sense that bodies have been taken from here. I will tell you, on the basis of that, Dennis, that actually maybe they're all stacked in one of the rooms at the back of the block, but it doesn't feel like all the bodies are here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And my question would be, is there a weapon that I can pick up?
Yes, there is. I think you will find an incinerator unit. There are some scorch marks on the wall, and you will find now the finding stuff. You don't need to ask me that question. You will always, if you choose to search, get a chance to find something.
Oh, okay, cool.
So you found an incinerator unit. There are scorch marks up the wall, and you have one more question. You have a question left to ask me, therefore.
Okay. I think you told me. Do the vents? When I look at the vents, and I can see that the blood marks going up, are the vents still intact, or does it look like they've been damaged? No. Okay.
It looks like the vents have been shredded, burst outwards, and the edge of the housing is bent out of shape as though something larger than it came through it.
Okay. It just occurred to me while we were doing that. Could I have asked, like, where does the colony keep the guns or that kind of thing? Like sort of like information that we might know broader than the specific scene.
Yeah. There is an armory in B2.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, Dennis snatches up the incinerator and starts fiddling with it and clutches it to his thing, and then I think he looks over at Oakley and says, "Here, Morris, you're better with this than me," and just gives it to her.
Wow, I can't argue with you about something for once. Yeah. I have a pistol I'll give you. Don't worry about this. And I'll start, I think she's just strapping this on like it's nothing.
If you just mark that on your character sheet and mark the necessary load. Martin, what do you do?
Well, first I look at that weapon and I'm like, that looks really dangerous. Let's move on. I will continue moving towards where we're supposed to go.
So you're going to your locker, Martin?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
go to my locker.
Let's say that it's in a different shower area than Maybell's, because security will share one of these locker sets, admin will share one of them, and then tech will share one of them. So you head to the tech shower rooms and associated lockers, Martin. Yes?
I look to see if anyone joins me as I walk.
Carrie, I think probably your lockers are in the same place as Martin's.
Yeah, but I'm curious about the body. I mean, do I notice anything besides it being torn in half? Supervisor Simpson's body?
Investigate, please. This will be with expertise, so roll both the white and the orange dice. You can always include the stress dice later if you want to improve the roll.
That's 2 1s. So I would like to re-roll that.
Stress dice and re-roll.
5, 5, and 4. 4 on the stress dice.
So the stress dice is not highest, so you don't have to improve stress. You get a 5. That means you can ask me 2 questions. I've given you the bare minimum. He's been torn in half by just force.
Which is, I mean, that's a pretty obvious cause of death. So I'm just looking at, is there anything else that's noteworthy about the corpse?
Yes. Beneath the lower half of the body is a significant acid burn that has burned through the grating in the floor and down into the earth, the planetary substrate that it's based in.
Maybell, take a look at this.
I'll get as close as I can with the flamer on me.
That ain't normal. I mean, Supervisor Simpson was a toxic little shit, but
there's something, and I think she looks. I don't think Carrie and Maybell have said more than like 20 words to get to each other this entire time they've been on the colony. And like, did you serve? Were you a combat doctor?
I try not to remember that part. But
no, I'm asking out of character. Like, did you is there like a way she could tell like how you're reacting and stuff?
Basically, I'm completely dissociated from any emotions, and you can tell that I'm just functioning on, like, I've just shut every emotion off, and I'm looking at it coldly, clinically, analytically. You know, everything else is being suppressed.
So then that's, I think, very trustworthy to Maybell, and she sounds like, I was on names of one of the proper planets. There was this thing that came after my unit. I was the only one to survive. Black Op, not reported. This doesn't look like them, but I'm saying there's more out there than we think and we know about.
Fuck. I have one more question, Alan. Is that right?
You do.
Do I see anything on what remains of Supervisor Simpson's body that is useful for us? Access cards, anything like that that would get us into a different area?
Roll the white and the orange dice and add them together.
That is a 5.
Not on the body, but when you're examining the upper body, mm-hmm. There's a kind of panel in the wall of the corridor that it's leaning on, and it's a cutting torch.
I'll take it.
That's something that will require power to use.
Good thing I've got a full power pack.
And as they talk about how terrible the situation is, I'm all by myself walking towards my.
Indeed, you are. I was about to come to you, Martin, because it looked like Carrie was going to come with you, and then she was distracted. So, Martin, you are making your way through the tech shower block towards. Yeah, is that where we're going? I think. Yeah. Okay. What do we see on screen? How do we see Martin move?
He's kind of staggering and he keeps looking towards all directions. Is there also blood here? Because if there is, he keeps looking at every single spill because he's all distracted as he walks and looks around, kind of protective.
And then he gets to his locker. What's in his locker?
Let's see. In my locker is a personal comlink. Very useful.
You would need two of them to establish comms within the group, but that means you only need to find one more.
Yeah. I'll start opening other lockers if I could.
And that is investigate, please.
So I roll.
I don't think nothing that we've heard about Martin so far suggests that he's a terribly practical and an emergency kind of guy. So I think this is without expertise unless you've got a case to make.
No case. I got a 5.
Gee whiz. So roll the white dice and the orange dice.
Mm-hmm. Beep boop. 2 and 6. So 8.
You will find a med kit in one of the lockers, and yeah, you can ask me up to 2 questions if you want to.
2 questions. So first thing is, does it look like this room has something that came out of the ceiling?
I think that certainly each of the shower blocks or the locker spaces. It does look like whatever got in here got in through those ventilation. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. And second question would be, other than them talking about how terrible the situation from a room not too far away, can I hear anything else?
I think, Martin, you can hear that. You know, the kind of hollow, slightly boom, boom sound, a slightly metallic clang, or I think something's moving in that ventilation, because the conduits run just above the ceiling panels, and as you're thinking about these ventilation shafts, you can hear a kind of up above you.
Oh, this looks very useful. And I run towards the other people.
I think that sounds like that's giving you a bit of a scare, Martin.
Yes.
Would you roll for stress, please?
Sure. Keep clicking the wrong buttons. That's a 2. So.
Cool as a cucumber, though. Okay. Mm-hmm. So do you head back to where Maybelle and Dennis were?
In a rush.
In a rush. Passing Carrie in the corridor as you go. Sorry, Carrie and Maybelle in the corridor. Dennis is just coming out of the shower block with, I believe, whatever he found in his locker. What are people's reactions when Martin kind of skids around a corner in a puddle of blood and kind of
slow down, Martin. You need to be calm.
Oh yeah. I found this. I push it into Mabel's hands, the medkit.
Wow. This is more useful than you've been in a long time.
Oh, thank you. There were sounds from the ceiling.
What?
Listen, Morris, you mentioned a gun. Maybe we should get that and go check on the admin offices, see if Colony Control has anything to say.
Good. I only know about minimal first aid, so I'm not going to be the best at this med kit, but I think I'm your best bet right now.
As they speak, I kind of look up and try to listen again.
Yeah, I think Maybell is like holding the med kit and is moving on unless Carrie says anything about being good with medicine.
You know, Maybell, let me have that. I've patched a few people up here and there.
I think she'll sort of gatekeep, but like in that manner that is very pleasant as the gatekeeper says, like, do you know like what this is? And Carrie's like, yes. Do you know what XYZ, how it connects to ABC? And it's like, oh shit, I've been served. Here you go.
And that's when you hear another kind of clang from one of the ventilation ducts. What do you do?
Oh, if I've handed over the med kit, I ready the flamer.
Okay.
I ready the fire extinguisher.
To be used in a particular sequence, presumably. So you're in the corridor, the main corridor running down through the housing. Dormitories going off to either side. Then at this end, the corridor's running into the various locker rooms and shower rooms. And there's something moving in that main ventilation duct running above this corridor. So where are you pointing that flamer, Maybell?
Oh, up. This doesn't sound natural at all.
The nearest exit for that is about 20 paces down the corridor, where there's a ventilation grill hanging from the ceiling, where it's been burst open.
I think she just says like quickly, it's like, watch my back, and just runs down to that ventilation shaft and is going to try and fill it full of fire.
Should we really be fighting whatever is making that noise?
Well, if it's a human, out of character, if it's a human, I'm very sorry. If it's, I want to be safe.
Shouldn't we just leave?
You murder Newt.
Leaving is a very good idea, Martin. That is the second useful thing you've come up with today.
Oh, thanks. But we should get the hell out of here.
So, Dennis, where are you as Maybell is heading up towards this ventilation exit?
Hanging way back. He was still hoping that Mabel was going to open the locker up and give him that gun.
Yeah, that's my plan after this.
Yeah, so he's just hanging back. He's ready to run.
So, Maybell, you're looking up at this. It's coming towards you now.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I think Maybell just like calmly pulls the click back. There's like this little pilot light flicker on the flamer. She's like, "Welcome to hell, motherfucker." Pulls the cord and just launches flame up into the vents.
And there is that kind of noise from that vent. I will now advance the risk clock because that's quite a lot of noise. And the movement up there has stopped, and some kind of bizarre fucking thing drops out, flaming at your feet. It's got a snake-like tail. It looks a bit like a kind of spider crab. And as it burns, it hisses. And there is a possibility of a splash of acid here. So would you roll the normal dice, the expertise dice, and the failure 1 dice, please?
I got a 4 on the expertise, a 1 on the regular, and a 2 on the failure 1.
You're muted.
When there's a chance that you could come to harm, if that failure dice is lower than the dice you roll, then you're okay. So you step back as some of this acid spatters away from the flames as this thing skitters around on the ground, flailing.
Isn't that one of those things that they pulled off of that guy the other day?
Now, I think I do want you all to roll for stress, given this is your first contact with with Maybell's exception, but it's your first contact with this alien species.
Yeah. Should we go in order of character keeper?
Which order? Shall we start with Martin? He's doing so well so far.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just roll the stress dice, 3 or less, and everything's fine.
1.
Rock and roll. Dennis? Maybell?
Ooh, I'm good.
And finally, Carrie.
Yeah, mine goes up.
Okay. That's not bad given the circumstances. We are coming up to the hour. So I'm inclined to say, shall we take a break now? Because that would seem to me to be a good point for a commercial break as the face hugger burns out at Maybell's feet. Yeah?
By me.
Okay. 5 minutes long enough this time?
Yep, sounds good.
Fine. Back in
5
our
past
seats
the hour.
about 4 minutes past. See you then. Was that you or Martin wiping his brow, Eris? Gosh, we all rushed back.
I saw people on. I'm just touching up on food I'm going to be cooking tomorrow. I'm fine.
Happy Thanksgiving for Flora.
Well, my plans are tomorrow, which is why I'm able to do today. But got a duck preparing, have lotus fruit made. Going to do pomegranate rambutan cranberry sauce.
Oh wow, lotus fruit. That's the first time I've heard that in.
That
Thanksgiving.
sounds very advanced.
I was telling Alan, my godparents were Chinese and really big into Thanksgiving. So like most people, I have turkey, I have stuffing, I have cranberry sauce. Like I have cold noodles with sesame sauce. I have bitter melon. I have durian dessert cheesecake. Like this is.
Durian.
I actually like durian.
Yeah, some people do, don't they? Yeah.
The smell is awful. I hate the smell, but the taste is actually quite good.
This is the first year I'm not going to do a Thanksgiving thing. I normally just do it for the sweet potatoes, the candied sweet potatoes.
Taro sweet pie is good too.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah. You look at like an English roast dinner, and then you look at the American Thanksgiving one, and you're like, who decided to add all this maple syrup and sugar?
The corn syrup industry.
Yeah. Oh, Puckett's back.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. No, we seem to rush back quite early. I suppose what I'm interested in now is are you leaving mass housing?
I'm getting my gun for Dennis. Then we're leaving.
Fine. So where are you heading, and what are the conversations that go on while you're going there?
Yeah, didn't the official message say we need to be here? Which I guess we should not be here?
Looks like the emergency message has outlived its usefulness.
So
The emergency message may have caused a problem.
I mean, listen, there are two places that I think we should go. We either go up to the admin offices, the corporate offices, and we see what if there's anything on the main controls, the main operations room, or maybe we head down to the armory.
I don't know if I was explicit on your arrival, but the corporate shuttle is still sitting on the landing pad.
Oh yeah, that's what Maybell was about to bring up. That she looks at it's like the weapons center is the correct idea if we cannot find the key cards to that ship. I don't plan to be here much longer if I can handle it.
Are there any trackers on people? I mean, can we see where people are, if there's any signs of life left?
Yeah, I think there probably are. I think
there is in the aliens. Aliens, they track the colonist signatures to the thing, so it implies that there's some sort of tracking.
Said Dennis. But no, in theory, yes, you should be able to locate, at least generally, the colonists, the key cards, the ID cards that you've been using to get through doors.
Is it worth trying to see if anybody else is still alive? Or should we just get the hell out, Maybell?
The only reasonable place to do that from would be ops.
Do you guys think we should leave the colony?
Yes, I think we should leave the colony.
But
Martin, listen to the soldier.
You can grow your pretty pansies wherever we go, as long as we don't water them with our blood. Carrie, if we find people on the way, we'll bring them into the group. If we find more of those things, Dennis and I will handle them. Hopefully they won't have to get close enough for your axe.
You trust Dennis to deal with a gun?
I trust Dennis more than I let on.
I just kind of look at Dennis skeptically.
Dennis is, I think, actually does know his way around a pistol. I used to carry one back on Earth. Personal carry. It's a God-given right in the United Americas. So, and he's one of the few people who has something worth stealing from. So yeah. However, what's our quickest way?
Can I just check? Was Maybell triggering verbally abuse on Martin there?
I think I was giving honest human connection because I'm admitting that I actually care about him.
Okay.
Or trust him.
Okay. Let's see how that goes then. So reduce stress by 1, Maybell, and roll 1 dice.
Okay, I'll roll then reduce. I got a 1.
Martin sees your hollow camaraderie for what it is. You cannot use your expertise until stress goes up again, but it has gone down by 1. Do just give me the heads up if anyone else wants to trigger one of those seek relief moves. But for now, what do you do?
How do we trigger the seek relief moves?
All you have to do is to tell me that or narrative, fictional positioning. For verbally abuse, bully, or shame someone, you could hit somebody. I think meaningless sex is unlikely in the context.
Mm-hmm.
You could get drunk if you could find something to get drunk with, and there might be something in that med kit. You could try to numb your pain with drugs, and I think that 1 or 2 of you might have picked those up from your locker.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can look to actually have a meaningful conversation with somebody.
I think I'd like to try to have a meaningful conversation with Martin.
Okay.
And just say,
so let's
listen.
have that little scene.
I kind of take Martin aside just a few steps and say, listen, this is bad, right? With this much blood, with these bodies laying around, this is really bad.
Yeah, it's not my first time with a violent sin. But what could cause such a violent sin? I wouldn't know.
My gut check is that it's something that we don't want to know about and that we want to get away from as quickly as possible.
And what was that creature?
So, you know what? I don't know and I don't care. I just don't want to see another one. I want to get the hell off of this rock and I want to survive. That's it.
Do you really think the entire colony is gone?
With this much blood and bodies laying around like this? I think if the colony isn't gone, it will be gone so soon that it's irrelevant. We need to get the hell out of here.
Okay.
Now, at that point, I think that I think you've both been part of the conversation. So let's start with Carrie. You reduce stress by 1 and roll a d6 on the seek human contact.
And that is a 2.
So Martin, it appears, is not convinced by that. He sees your horrible camaraderie as self-serving pretense, and you are ashamed. You cannot use your expertise until stress goes up again, but stress has gone down by 1.
Okay.
Martin, I think you also, that was a 2-way conversation, so I think you get to roll a d6 as well.
Mm-hmm. I should probably also roll some stress. I got 2. So
exactly the same.
We don't believe each other. Yeah.
You both reduce stress because you've unloaded, but the receiving person really didn't get it. So you too cannot use your expertise until stress goes up again, Martin, but it has gone down for now. So where does that take us to? Where's the next stop after the corridors of the sublevel?
Listen, Mabel, Miss Morris, do you think we're better off retracing our steps and going up to the admin and then checking out the armory, or?
Personally, I think we're not good retracing our steps. We've made more noise than we knew what to do with on the way down here. If they can go through the vents. They can be wherever we are. It's safe to just go ahead.
Then I guess we could go through. It's a little bit longer, but if we go through maintenance admin, we can head up towards the medical and labs area, and then go through the offices to the armory. I just wonder if that might be a bit long.
Give us more chances to run into those key cards we need.
And I wouldn't mind hitting medical. I might find something that, if things go haywire, I might find something up there that'll help us.
Okay, through maintenance it is then. So yeah, I guess we go back to the corridor network and through into maintenance admin, and then we're going to take the stairwell up to E1 to the medical and labs area.
Maintenance is not a lot better than housing. It looks like people made a last dash when things got iffy in mass housing. People seem to have scattered through these sublevels, and you'll find again, bodies. But you do get to maintenance admin. I'm assuming now that you are moving swiftly, not searching for stuff, or am I wrong?
I'm trying to move quietly.
Yeah, Dennis certainly isn't. He's clutching that gun and he's sticking close to the security officer with the flamer.
Yeah, I'm doing cursory glances, but I'm not going through every body to see if it's one of the Weyland-Yutani assholes.
Yeah. So Maybell, are you checking the bodies as you pass?
No, I'm not doing it like a physical. I think she's just looking to see if she recognizes their faces or if there's face left to recognize.
No, I'm not going to make you roll for that. I think I can tell you that they're all wearing colony coveralls of one kind or another.
Okay.
The glimpses that all of you have had of these Weyland-Yutani high-ups suggest that they are not very well turned out, and they are not here. So you get to admin, maintenance admin, and you go up that stairwell to, I think that takes you to E1, medical and labs, power control. Yeah. And the south lock if you wanted to kind of get out. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I want to search medical.
Okay. So let's see, what can I tell you is there? Okay, so medical, it's medical and labs. So mostly geology labs. This is also where the hydrology lab is. There's also, Martin, this is where the control panels for the various greenhouses dispersed around the colony are located. And Carrie, it looks like the labs and the med labs have been repurposed. What can I tell you? There are, you know, that thing that Maybell incinerated?
Yeah.
There's another one pinned out on a dissection table.
This seems like it might be a good time to roll my stress die, wouldn't it?
I wondered whether you might think that. I was waiting until I said the word, and there is something in the center of the crab that looks for all the world like insect ovipositors that you've seen.
Yeah, I just rolled 6 on the stress dice, so it goes up.
It does. How does this manifest for Carrie?
It looks like she just had steel put into her spine.
Oh.
She gets colder and a little more seemingly distant. But if Maybell were to look at her, she'd see something along the lines of, she's combat ready now.
And I think that probably answers Maybell's question about whether she'd served or not. So just put a word or two in that stress manifests as slot for the character keeper, just for our as an aid memoir. So yeah, this has been used, you think, to research some of these xenomorphs.
I really don't think we should spend a lot of time here, because you just burned one of those things, Maybell. There's another one pinned in there. If there's two, that means there's more.
These things, they're not what ripped Simpson apart, you know? There's got to be something else.
That, if you look closely at the one that's pinned open, that looks like an egg in it.
It looks like a bug.
An egg?
It appears that thing implants eggs inside people.
I'll go towards the pinned one. I want
Martin,
to check it out.
Stay away from that thing.
No, I should. Anyway,
Martin,
I'll
get
walk
your ass
towards it.
back here. And now, this is an order from Wayland, Utah. I'm going to verbally abuse Martin.
Reduce stress by 1 and
Roll
on
first.
the verbally abuse.
Let's see how well you do.
I got a 2. So you can see the sweat dripping off my head. I cannot use my expertise.
Slightly hollow threats, it appears.
Yeah. One moment. Like, there's probably a reason someone put it here. And I'll go towards it.
It's been partly dissected. Martin, roll to investigate.
Mm-hmm.
This is absolutely with your expertise if it's available to you. It can't be you.
Not. Yay. Come on. You'll have 5. 5.
On a 5, I will tell you that it has been very carefully dissected, and you can see that perhaps this wasn't the first one to be dissected, because there are acid burns underneath it, as though someone wasn't careful enough the first time round, and so the second one they took a great deal of care not to actually pierce any of the fluid tubes or containers inside it. It has had what looks like an egg sac dissected open, and you get to ask me 2 questions.
Does it look like whoever handled it? Well, no. Does it look there was any information about this thing used while they were dissecting it from before? Like you said, someone didn't know what he was doing, but he knew enough to check for eggs or whatever. Like, did they know about this? You're muted.
I think that, let's say that as well as that, you'll find a notepad that has things like acid blood. Be careful not to pierce anything that looks like it has fluid in it. And this is headed dissection 3. Do you have another question?
No, but I look at the others. There were more than 2. We need to get the hell out of here. I agree.
What the hell did I just say, Martin?
Is that in a pad underneath, it says 1 egg, 1 large egg container, dissected, 2 remain.
And there are 2 more somewhere here waiting to be dissected.
That's very nice.
Yes, let's get the hell out of this room.
Where are you heading?
Maybell, shall we hit the armory?
I think were we on the way to the armory, or?
Yeah, so we're in E1, which will take us then into the offices, and then there's a stairwell up to B2 where the armory is, which then connects to the admin offices that we're heading for.
Mm-hmm.
So next up is the offices.
No, hang on. You've just been in E1, medical and labs.
Oh yeah. Oh, so we
You
could
just go up the stairwell to Med Lab and
E1.
Morgue, Command Center and mainframe, and then head back along the top corridor to the armory.
Yeah, sorry, I was getting the admin and corp offices mixed up with the command center and mainframe.
So the stairwell will take you up to Med Lab, Morgue, Command Center, mainframe, observation windows. Yeah. What do you do here is just pass through to the main corridor and on to the armory?
I think Maybell is having a conspiracy theory talk with Carrie.
Oh, go ahead.
And she just, like, I think that this is sort of soldier talk, but, like, you can tell that Maybell's getting into her own head. It's like, you said they're like insects, didn't you?
They look like it, don't they?
Insects have stages. Most of them do. Lots of them do. Start out egg, turn into this creepy little thing that needs to be fed or feeds on things, then turns into something else, then maybe something even bigger and nasty. And are we going to be fighting Mothra?
What the fuck is a Mothra?
You need to watch classical movies.
I mean, I watch movies from like 40, 50 years ago sometimes.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Once we get out of here, I'm going to tell you something called Betamax. It's amazing if you can find them.
Okay, I guess. I like your optimism that we're going to get out of here, I think.
Please let me think that.
Just do me a favor, would you?
Yeah.
If one of those things gets on me, just fucking shoot me, please.
Only if you'll take that axe to my head if the same thing happens to me.
I'd prefer to do it with a gun because it's cleaner and quicker. But yeah, I'll make sure you don't have to go through whatever the hell is coming with that.
As long as we don't end up spread around the room like the other people were, I think we'll be fine.
I mean, given what we're seeing, is that really the worst outcome?
Let's not think about the worst right now.
Yeah.
That sounded like mutual seeking of human contact to me. Shall we start with Carrie?
Sure.
Reduce stress by 1 and roll a d6, please.
Roll d6, please. Don't let me fail. That's a 3.
Oh dear. So yes, stress does go down by 1, but it doesn't work. You just are continually stressed, and you're to the point where your expertise is just, you just can't focus on it. Maybell, what about you? Reduce stress by 1 and roll the dice.
I got a 2.
You already can't use it, so I'm afraid you don't get the benefit of the stress reduction.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so you need to get that expertise back in order to have those 1 to 3s work for you. Or I'll give you a hard choice. Do you want to take one of the 4+ options and keep the stress reduction?
You mean make something risky?
For instance.
Oh, let me check with honest. Okay.
On a 4+, there's a blow up. Agree with the GM whether to apply the 4+ result from verbally abuse, bully, or shame someone, or beat someone up.
Oh, I'm going to Oh, I think I'm going to do something about the verbally abuse. I'm going to take the 4+ option to keep reduction of stress.
Okay, which means, sadly, Carrie, that some of what Maybell says hit you hard. You must roll stress.
Stress is a 2.
It doesn't go up. Everyone's a winner.
Well, except for me not being able to use my expertise die.
When you get up to the upper floor of E Block, you're walking through the med lab, and the lights inside are on, and there is someone banging on the glass and mouthing at you, "Help me, help me, help me."
I look at
Sorry, what do you
Dennis.
Do we recognize who this person is?
It's Dr. Comiskey, one of the Wayland visitors.
Oh, with a key card. I look at Martin and I go, "He's got the key card. Hey, ladies, come on."
We should also save him because we should save him.
Oh, grow up, Martin.
Yeah,
Do we know if he's been exposed?
we don't know if there's anything about being exposed yet. We just have rumors and conjecture.
Well, let me help you then by saying that she's inside the sealed isolation room. It would seal automatically when the base went on lockdown. There is somebody else lying on one of the tables in there in isolation with one of these things on his face. But I think I can tell Carrie that the vital signs indicator on the edge of that that bed is showing that he's dead. And she's incredibly, and she flicks to the intercom and says, "Get me out of here! Get me out of here! Just get me out of here!"
Does the access terminal on the outside allow us to open it, or do we have to go to
because this is lockdown, you would have to tinker the door. So you need to. The kind of expertise is Comtech.
I'd like to investigate through the window real quick.
Okay, roll to investigate. You still have your expertise available, Carrie, so go ahead and roll both dice.
5 and 3. 5 on the orange die.
So on a 5, I've given you the basics. You can ask me 2 questions.
Besides the facehugger, do I notice anything unusual about the body? Any obvious signs of, say, violence or bloodshed or exploded rib cages?
No.
Okay.
Second question.
Is there any indication that I can see that she's had one of those facehugger things on her? And do I see any like ligature marks on her neck or anything like that?
Yes, you do.
Don't open the door. Whatever you do, do not open this door.
But she's right inside. We need to help her.
Do you see that thing on the face of the guy on the bed?
Listen, she's got the shuttle
She
card.
may have the shuttle card.
Listen, okay.
Look at her neck.
Listen.
Would everyone shut up?
And let her out.
Kaminsky, do you have your key card on you right now? Answer.
Oh, yeah. This is the shuttle key card. Yeah.
Put it under the door and we'll get you out.
Unfortunately, the door is sealed.
Yeah,
it is for infection as well as...
Yeah, I think...
I can try fiddling with the door. I don't... In theory, I'd be good at this, but I actually have not got my expertise at the moment. So,
guys, hate to do this to you. My wife just called me. I'd be right back.
Sure.
Cool. But
I'm just going to turn off the mic and say, listen. She's whatever this is, she's been exposed. We need the key card, but she is a threat to us.
Then we should double help her and whatever happened to her, we should help.
Don't worry. I'll help her. We just need to get the door open.
Oh, good. I'll get the door open then.
And I look at Maybell meaningfully because I know what she means by help.
Martin, thankfully, is too optimistic to know.
Does Mabel maybe reach out and take that gun off me while Martin's fiddling with the
I think she will. Maybe Dennis put it down on like a table while he was going up to like the check on the Kaminsky, and like Maybell is like taking the gun away so he can't point it at her.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, Dennis is on board with fragging Kaminsky for sure.
Oh, good. Then
yeah.
no. Then I'm letting you keep the gun.
Oh no. But I think Dennis is clearly going to hand that over to you because I assume you're not going to want to burn her alive, right?
No,
You assume wrong.
Well,
shit.
hey, I'm fine with burning the corpse, but
No,
at least if she's dead first, we've got the key card.
Okay.
I'm wanting to burn everything in the room after we have the key card because that guy also has one on his face, and this thing is an area weapon.
Okay. Well, I will. Dennis will offer you the gun, I suppose.
Yeah.
And as you fiddle with it, and you'll just shake your
Kind of
hand.
below the window level, so she can't see.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess we're waiting now to see how much death and destruction you're going to rain on everyone.
Well, there can't be too much death and destruction. I mean, there's only one living person there.
Is there only one?
Sorry about that. Terrible timing, but family news. Anyway, sorry.
We have a plan.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Good. Then my departure was not wasted. What's the plan?
Dennis and Martin, I think, will try to open the door together. Because we both have contact, but neither of us has expertise.
Well, then, you both get to roll the dice. The highest one counts. You can include the stress dice if you want to.
I get a 6 on my dice roll, anyways, for the door.
Okay. So, and Martin?
Should I also roll?
Yes, please. Because you are cooperating.
Yeah. I will roll. Wait, walk. I got a 6 as well.
Oh, then this is just insane. But what do you notice, both of you? Because when you roll a 6 on these things, what do you notice that reminds you of the terrible situation you're in? And then you roll for stress.
Jesus Christ. I think I notice the desperate look on Kaminsky's face as she presses her face up against the glass, staring down at us. And I see a high-flying Wayland Yutani exec stuck.
Roll for stress, please, Dennis. And so it goes. Martin, what do you notice that scares the bejesus out of you?
Well, I'm starting to recognize the signs of violence among humans that I've recognized before and have seen before. I'm starting to get that when Mabel said she'll help her, she didn't mean in the most helpful way.
Roll for stress, please.
Yeah, I'm starting to think about the people around me, basically. That's a 5 as well.
So stress goes up.
Expertise.
And the door opens and she rushes out.
Oh,
what do you do?
No, as soon as she takes the first step out, I have the gun that Dennis gave me, one shot between the eyes.
I think I'll roll for stress.
I think you will in a moment.
You're muted, Alan.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make Mabel. Oh, no, I will make Mabel roll for that because it could be interesting. So that is, sadly, her expertise is not available. So it's just the white dice or the stress dice.
I will hold on to rolling the stress dice depending on my outcome first.
Fine, go for it.
Is there any way that I can cooperate?
I got a 5.
I'm not sure, Carrie, how you could cooperate. I mean, there's a 5 there.
Okay.
What have you got in mind narratively?
Just if that didn't work, if I could kick her back or knock her off of her feet to make her an easier target for the second shot.
Fine. Well, this is covered by a rule called confront a threat. When you attack a threat, blah blah blah, on a 4, you succeed with no complications or benefits. Bang, down.
Yeah, I'll take her key card, shove her back in the room next to the corpse, and light them both up.
What are you doing?
It's called
Martin,
purging
would
an
you roll for
infection.
stress, please?
Yeah.
And I think like she's like looking back at him and she smiles. It's called purging an infection, lover boy.
1.
Oh, a 1. So you're getting used to this, Martin. Dennis, what do you make of this?
It's a dog eat dog world, and this survival of the fittest, and
There's a position open now.
Yeah. There's an opening.
I think this may make you the senior Weyland-Yutani executive in the colony at this point. Technically, you are this colony right now.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a key card. Because you took the key card before you put it back in the isolation, I know.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with it?
The key card will only work if it's keyed to a Weyland-Yutani ID. I'd be happy to roll manipulate for that.
I think so. So this may be a card that needs to be in the possession of the lead WY rep. So I think if you did have expertise, it is available. Roll with expertise.
That's a 6.
I think Maybell hands it over. She may think better of it later.
Well, I'm handing it over, I think, because it might be infected, and I can be upgraded later too.
Yes. Yeah, you probably are the next highest employee. So Dennis, that was a 6, wasn't it?
Yes.
So what do you realize in your situation that is a risk of some more stress?
I think it is the rather loud noise that the gunshot made.
Well spotted, because I've just filled the last passive risk box. The hive is now active. Roll for stress, please, Dennis.
Well, I take another stress, so now I'm at 5.
This is getting close to the edge for Dennis.
Yeah, I think what Dennis does, though, is that while they're burning the bodies, like the key card thing happened before that, while they're burning the bodies, Dennis goes and like stands out in the corridor and pulls out that drug that he picked up from his locker. And he's running hard. He's going to take that. So he will try and numb the pain with drugs.
So he will. Go for it.
And I got a 4. So
go ahead, read it.
I agree with the GM whether I push someone who cares about me or is important to the mission away, I overlook a crucial deadline or event that puts the mission at risk, or I steal something that's important to someone you care about or to the mission. So that I could trade it for drugs later. I don't think that trading it for drugs later is really appropriate in this thing. I think maybe I either push away Martin as he comes out to check on me, perhaps, or I'm willing to overlook an event or crucial deadline that puts the mission at risk, perhaps like the noise of something in the vents or a skittering down the corridor or something, and I'm too busy shooting up to pay attention.
Funny how great minds think alike, isn't it? Because I think you are too focused on these pills to notice what may be going on around you. So incineration is complete. Carrie, what are you doing?
I think, because of Martin's reaction, I am going to once again try to explain to him the situation that we are in. Because, Martin, you really don't grasp the severity of things. She was infected. This was helping her. This was giving her a much quicker death than she would have had otherwise. We've seen the bodies. We've seen these things. We're starting to get an idea of what happens.
This isn't the beginning of the 21st century. We have medical expertise these days. We can heal people, you know.
And that has clearly worked very fucking well based on every single thing you have seen as we have walked through this hellhole of a facility.
I didn't see anyone
Everybody
trying
is-
to heal anyone.
Everybody is fucking dead. Obviously, this is not something that you can heal.
She wasn't dead.
No, but she was infected. The ligature marks
We-
on
she-
her neck.
And she
showed
wasn't
that.
dead. She was fucking...
Have you seen anything that indicates that anyone survives any of this?
Then what's the point of even trying to get out of here? We are going to
Because
survive this. She could have
We're
as
not
well.
infected.
We just murdered that woman.
No. We just showed her mercy. You didn't hear the conversation I had with Maybell, where I said, if you see one of those things on my face, fucking shoot me.
Then you are insane.
And she said, if you see one of those things on my face, make sure you use your fire axe on me.
Then she's Mabel.
You need to understand, this is a terminal situation.
We are humans, humanity. Like, we need to keep sane, not go and murder people around just because they might be diseased in some sort of disease. We can heal people these days. And that's what we should be doing, not shoot them in the head and then burn them.
I think
I'm just
what
going to punch him in the
started-
face at this point.
I think what started as look for honest human contact turned into an argument. So I think I'm going to let you both let off some steam and get a stress back. But I think I want both of you to roll on the verbally abuse, bully, or shame someone.
Yeah.
Can
who
I
wants
just
to go
punch him?
first?
She can still, she can punch me. I'm gonna shame her though for being a murderer, bitch.
Hey, I haven't
So-
killed anybody yet. I just know why it's necessary. So I'm
So-
removing one on my stress track.
And you're rolling a d6 to see what comes out the end of this.
That's a 5.
Go first.
On a 4+, and they are a PC, your words really hit them hard. They roll for stress. So, Martin, you lose a point of stress, but now roll for it to go back up again.
Yeah, I haven't lowered it yet, so that's fine. Let's first roll.
But
I got a 4.
She beat him up. She didn't verbally abuse him.
Yeah, she punched me. You're muted.
Muted.
If they're a PC, you really
Yeah.
hurt them. They roll for stress.
Yeah, I rolled for stress. I got
can I
4.
tell you?
Yeah. So
So
I
stress
get
goes up.
1 stress, and then
then-
it goes down, and then I roll. And just the whites, right? I got a 2.
Which is, do you verbally abuse or do you beat up? What's your response?
No. I try to shame her.
Okay. So on a
So,
2, your inadequacy is clear to anyone watching, including you. You cannot use your expertise until stress goes up again.
Yeah.
But stress did
wonderful.
just go up again, so that's
Yeah.
fine.
Oh, okay. Good. And my nose is broken, I assume.
So Dennis comes back into the room. If you ladies are all done roughhousing, maybe we should get the fuck out of here.
Finally, some common sense.
I don't think his sense of smell is very good right now.
Now the
How's
good
that
thing
drip,
is
Dennis?
that downstairs from here is the lower floor of E block and the south lock. And then all you have to do is make your way around the outside and you'd be at the shuttle.
Yeah, but we need another card.
Why do you need a second card?
I thought we needed both cards from a.
No.
Just one?
No, just the one.
Then let's get the fuck out of here.
We are right next to the armory. That's my only suggestion. My only question is whether we go to the armory or we head straight out.
Mabel,
Yes.
What's the plan?
you're the tactical person here. Do we get guns or do we go?
I would suggest that we go. If these things, we've been lucky so far. I would prefer to leave while we have our registered Wayland-Yutani personnel who we need to get off this planet.
That's right.
That's when you hear that down the door to the main corridor, and something goes boom against it. Whatever it is, it's bigger than anything you've encountered so far.
And this is where we were going?
No.
Where are we from?
It's the way to the armory.
I suggest we don't go to the armory. Maybe they've been there already. I don't know how smart they are. Let's go.
And then you can hear, just as you are disappearing down the stairwell, back down to E1, the lower floor, you can hear a rattling of a ventilation shaft, a ventilation grill in the med lab area where you've just come from. Okay? There's the south lock.
Yeah. Let's get out of here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there
Don't
any
bother with the overalls. Just put the rebreather on and leg it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
But my nose is broken.
Suck it up.
It's gonna hurt.
Really bad fit. And so you make your way through the wind and the rain and the kind of dust that comes with it. And there's the shuttle in the murk. Could I ask, let's see, who's got expertise at the moment with them?
I do.
Let's see. Oh, yes.
Yeah, I did too.
Then, Carrie, would you roll with expertise to investigate, please?
I can re-roll that with if I had the stress die, correct?
You can.
Okay. I got a 6 on the orange dice, and I got a 6 on the stress dice, or the die.
Muted.
You're muted,
Alan.
Alan.
Alan, you're muted.
It always happens when I get excited. So 6 is as good as it gets, but because the stress dice is 6, your stress goes up by 1.
Okay.
You now tell me what it is that really worries you about that shadow moving through the murk behind you.
It's clearly not human.
That is
also
exactly right. Would you roll for stress, please?
That is a 5.
Congratulations. Stress just went up to 3.
I'm going to point this out to Maybell, by the way.
Yes, I thought you might. Emerging through the murk, probably 20 or 30 yards behind you, Maybell, is a dark shape with a long head swinging from left to right as though scanning for you. And behind it, you can see the low, slow swirl and sweep of a tail. What do you do, Maybell?
I start communicating with Carrie with military hand signs to keep the quietness. I
What are you doing with your hands?
And as soon,
Fuck up.
yeah, and as soon as Martin says something, I think she lets go. Like the flamer's on a harness on her, but she lets go of the controls. Grabs Carrie, grabs Dennis, and makes a bolt for the ship.
Okay, no one is carrying enough to be slowed down. Dennis, what's your reaction when Maybell grabs you?
To run even faster than Mabel is trying to pull me.
Martin, what do you do? Because it looks like looks like Maybell and Carrie and Dennis are running for the shuttle without looking back at the minute.
I'll start running towards their direction and then kind of like go aside.
Wow. Okay. So what? You're not now heading for the shuttle.
Like I'm trying to make a longer route while that thing.
Okay. Then I think that, so you're at the shuttle. Dennis, what do you do? It's now about 10 yards behind you, this thing.
Oh wait, is Martin coming to? Martin's in between.
Martin's gone off at an angle somewhere. You look around, there's no sign of him. He's taken a long way around, but look of it.
I can't shoot him in the leg so that they catches up with him first. Then okay. I scrambled to open the shuttle.
I think given the circumstances, that's probably Comtech. So roll with expertise in Comtech if you have it and you can use it.
I get a 4.
A 4 works without any trouble to do something else. The door kind of, the ramp infuriatingly slowly. Martin, through the murk, you can see the ramp coming down. It's about 10, 15 yards from you. What do you do, Martin?
Where do I see the creature?
Are you stopping to investigate or are you running for the ramp?
I will look first.
Roll to investigate, please. I think I will. Knowledge and analysis are in there, so I'll give you expertise on this.
5 and 3. So that's a 5, I assume.
Oh, you can ask 2 questions. One of them is, where's the creature? The creature is less than 10 paces behind them and coming on fast.
The second question is, can they close the door fast enough for it not to catch up to them?
I think that's probably no.
Okay. I wanted to ask, like, if I know of any more entrances to the ship, but I assume.
I don't think that you would know the answer to that question, if I'm honest. There's not one obvious in the murk. So this thing, so you're on the ramp, guys. Who rushes up the ramp first, as if I didn't know? Dennis has skittled into the interior. Maybell, Carrie, what do you do? This thing will be on you shortly.
You're a better person than I am. That's just objective fact. Get in.
All right. I'll patch you up if you need it.
So Carrie scampers up the ramp. Dennis, what do you do when you get to the top of the ramp?
I hit the shut button.
Maybell, are you on the ramp or in front of it?
I am on the ramp, and if the creature gets close while it is on there, I will just begin spitting flame like I am an epileptic dragon.
Okay, so I think that this is... now, the rules say, I need to say, when you engage a full-size xenomorph up close and personal, describe how you die. You are not yet up close and personal. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So you can roll with expertise and with both failure dice, I'm afraid.
Okay.
You can put the stress in later if you want to.
I certainly may. Ooh, I will definitely re-roll that with stress.
So re-roll all 5 dice.
Oh, that is much better. I got a 5 on the expertise. My stress goes up, but it is higher than any of the failure die.
Well, that's just fine. You spray flame at it and it skitters away. Martin, what do you do? The rabbit.
Yeah, I'll start running now.
Okay. Let's see how you do. Do you have any expertise that suggests that you can run really, really quickly?
God, no.
No. So just the straightforward white dice, please.
Come on. It's a 4. It's not too bad.
Which is success with no complications. So you're on the edge of the ramp as it goes up. What do you do, Maybell?
I hate love. No, I don't. Is there a chance for her to get Martin in the ship?
Yes, because Martin's role was success without complications. I was just curious what Maybell might do.
I think she actually leans down, pulls him in, and is hugging him when the ramp closes.
He's in shock. Can I roll for stress?
Yes, please.
No, that was stressful. Like, what the hell is going on? Oh, I got a 2, so nothing. Whatever.
He's surprisingly cool, is the young Martin. It is 4 minutes to the hour. I think that we have reached an appropriate and fitting climax. As one of you tries to work out how to fly this fucking thing.
Yeah, none of us chose pilot, unfortunately. So,
but with Comtech, you should be at least able to set the autopilot to work.
I also
Can I
have knowledge,
roll
if that
see?
fits.
Knowledge might help, yeah. So would we like to epilogue our way out of this?
I would like to roll see if we get off see how well I do the thing. And I think that will inform our
Sure.
epilogue, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look, I think you're going to get off, right?
Okay.
I think it's what happens after that.
5. So I get off. I get a 5, and it's not going to go horribly wrong.
No, it's not going to go horribly wrong. But and then you'll go into the kind of the deep sleep chambers, and so I'm just curious what happens. What do we see happening in the kind of post credits teaser for the next movie? Because this is much better than the one they made. So can I start with Carrie? Do you want to start our epilogue, Carrie? What do we see?
Before we go into cryosleep, I think we're all trying to talk to Martin and get him straight on what actually went down and make sure that we have some consensus on the story. Martin, do we have consensus on the story?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes. Not gonna put any of you in trouble. I'm not a evil bitch.
In that case, Carrie's not going to tamper with his cryosleep chamber. And you just see Carrie going into cryosleep. And as the chamber door is closing, you hear her mutter, "I hope to fucking God I don't dream."
Very good. Moving along. Maybell. Either immediately or sometime afterwards?
I think like she's been hugging, like maybe Carrie set Martin's nose after she realized she didn't have to kill him, and like after Martin says that he's not going to rat on them, Maybell like pulls off like this necklace which has an old grenade pin on it, pulls the necklace off and puts the pin on Martin's ring finger and says, like, once we get to port, how do you think about a date?
I have to cut to Martin then for the next epilogue, obviously.
I thought mine would be last. I take the thing and like, of course.
You only live once, but in my case, it's more like 3 times.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'm going to live happy.
I do like cats. And I don't know when Dennis goes into the cryo chamber, but I think I would go last with a hand on my stomach. Like I get a stomachache as I go inside the chamber.
Very good. Thank you for that. Dennis, epilogue immediately or sometime later?
I don't know. I was going to say maybe Dennis is the last one to go enter the cryo chambers, and he checks on Martin's one and sees the anomalous readings in there, and a smile creeps across his face. And the last thing that you see of him is him fiddling with the other 2 cryopods.
Can I have an idea from what you had said much earlier in this series. I think that like maybe you see the anomaly and like you pull up your hand and there's a cut on it, but it's white running out of the cut. And, and you say
yeah.
The object has been arranged. The others will not be a problem. And like it cuts out with you like messing with Maybell and Carrie's isolation.
Oh no, I know what the last thing is. It's the reflection of those like CRT screens typing in his eyes, and it just reads across like package acquired. Like,
brilliant, guys! Thank you for that. Have we got a couple of minutes just for a quick roses and thorns? If I start on the left, Erez, any roses to pass about?
Let's see. I really liked Carrie. She was a decent pain in the ass. Mabel was fun, especially the ending, even though she's dead now, but still. Dennis sucked, and it was so good. He was horrible. You were horrible. Just horrible.
Yeah, and so horrible it was good. Moving on. Will, any roses?
Roses to Erez for doing things that clearly weren't survival oriented, but were the right thing to do. And yeah.
Yeah, I'd add to that, particularly given that you chose humanity, and even from the very start, we're not cynical Erez. So I would add a rose on that one. Moving on, Ferret, any?
I think Era's like the perfect final girl, so to speak, in this horror movie, like too pure for this world. And Dennis, you were the slickest, meanest asshole, which was perfect for a Weyland-Yutani and perfect for the ending we came up with. And thank you for allowing me to mess with your epilogue. And Puckett, we were the most efficient people on there. We had to die. We would have run this series into the ground. Like Ripley could not have competed with us.
No, very true. Puckett, any roses?
Will, you played a staggeringly slimy son of a bitch, and it was great. And Erez, too naive, too pure, too innocent. You really deserved that punch. And Ferret, you're absolutely right. I mean, the only way you survive one of these movies is by being completely inept or being completely and utterly ruthless. And we were neither inept nor sufficiently ruthless. So fitting end, And here I was just thinking, hey, Vasquez didn't die. Well, shows what I know. So yeah,
Great.
roses all around. Alan, thanks for running this. It was a lot of fun. Pacing was great. I like how you kind of got us to the end and it's like, bam, right there.
Good. Glad you enjoyed it. Any thorns? Go back the other way. Start with Puckett.
This is mostly a thorn for myself, but because of the last minute notice, I didn't get a chance to read through the rules as carefully as I otherwise would have. So it's, I was kind of like struggling to find where certain things were in the character keeper. But look, it's mostly just a thorn for me.
Oh gosh, look, Puckett, you were struggling with some technical difficulties there. I was glad you stuck with it, kid.
So, but otherwise, I mean, it felt a bit like Night's Black Operators. Shit, I should have run Mia.
Yes, some great grandchild.
Yeah, something like that. So.
Are you telling me that whatever set of rules I use, the game is the same, Puckett?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it had a similar feel to it in terms of the stress track, in terms of the skills and that sort of thing. So at least there was that sort of familiarity with it. But other than that, like I said, I think the only thorns I had were for myself, for struggling with finding out where things were in the rule set. So,
don't thorn yourself for that, kid. Ferret, any observations?
Nothing thorn-wise. I noticed that I had dropped in chat I want a flamethrower, and you gave me a flamethrower, so major kudos to you. And it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to us.
Yeah, I thought you might have wanted a pulse rifle, but you wanted a flamethrower, so what the hell? Will, anything?
So the only thing I could think of was when we investigate and we find stuff, what do we notice kind of thing, the questions. I wonder if that maybe is a bit slower in this because it's less investigatory and more kind of like running away and surviving. And my only other suggestion is in terms of the motivations. Why did you come out here? You know, like what would you do to stop them? For example, on Errors is where it's most noticeable. But I think it's kind of like we all end up working against the company, right? But we're all actually working for the company. So short of you being like some kind of like trade unionist or rebel, like you're or a corporate spy for somebody else, you're not going to be out there to stop them. You could be doing, you know what I mean? I think it works.
No, I agree. I think because I was pushed for time, I simply lifted the questions. You'll recognise they're the same.
Yeah, no,
and I'm not sure they're entirely appropriate to this setting. So good point. And finally, Errors, anything, observations?
I mean, not really. Maybe that the sick relief ones, they felt more like something you do rather than something that should be situational. That in case you do something, maybe you need to roll for it, and not something that you directly do a move. Like just
yeah, part of it is about trying to keep things going. I think what I'm wondering about is whether to run a 4-parter in January. Because I think it would be quite nice to see the rise and fall of that stress without quite the rush. I don't know. Can aliens survive 12 hours of television? Maybe 6. I don't know. Anyway, I'm thinking about that.
Can I just say that I think that the relief stress moves worked quite naturally here, whereas I sometimes felt in Acton Cthulhu there was never really a moment in the action to do it, whereas here it felt more like part of the narrative kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's partly me thinking about feedback from the AC games. So yeah. Okay, folks, I've overrun. Thank you so much for playing at relatively short notice and very short notice, Puckett, in your case. You were all great. I thought that was a great Aliens movie, I have to tell you. Quite why James Cameron ruined it by introducing all those Marines, I just don't know. But, there you go. This is the one that fell in the gap somewhere. So I will wish you all, happy Thanksgiving again to the pair of you. And I hope to play again soon. Bye for now.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Good night.
Be well.
Bye.